In today's video, I'm going to be covering our decision to go diaper-free at 1 year old and a couple of practical things around that decision and how that's going for us. If you're unfamiliar with us, I'm Carmen. I'm a first-time mom to Elba, and we've done elimination communication from birth. I have several elimination communication videos on my channel that you can have a look at. I've shared our journey as we went through the different stages of elimination communication, things I learned, things I changed. And this video is very similar to that, but it's obviously the big decision of going diaper free. All right, so first thing, in this title, I said diaper free. And if you have got your information about elimination communication or going diaper free from like a very short reel, you might have an image that diaper free means wore diapers, now no longer wears diapers. And that your kiddo is going consistently every single output in the potty. At least that's what I thought when I used to watch elimination communication content. So anyway, this is not the case for me with elimination communication. This stark contrast between diapers and then no diapers. And that's kind of how I picture potty training to go. However, I recognize there are variations to potty training. I've obviously not done potty training, so I can't speak from first-hand experience. But with elimination communication, I think it's a very gentle transition, or it is in our case. And there's also variations to it. It's not, okay, wear diapers, now no diapers whatsoever. The decision to go diaper-free is also, in my opinion, and this is covered in the Go Diaper-Free book, I think it's, when it comes to elimination communication, it's a strategic decision. It's not necessary, oh, I noticed that we're always having dry diapers, therefore we should now go diaper-free. There's a couple of factors that go into that decision, and I'm going to be covering in the video the factors that went into our decision. But just to be clear, I did not make this decision because Elba was having dry diapers all the time and consistently every single time going in the potty. Diaper-free also doesn't mean she's 100% diaper-free. She is currently diaper-free during the day at home. So that's something to be mindful of when you are seeing elimination communication content. Diaper-free has variations to it, and when somebody says their kiddo was diaper-free by a particular age, or their kiddo is currently diaper-free, there are variations to what that might mean, and I'm going to cover that in this video. But I just want to caution you to have the assumption that diaper-free means 100% never needing diapers or always going in the potty, because I think that can create some misillusions. Is that a word? And through that, potentially put pressure on us, or we might have these assumptions that, you know, we were supposed to be at a certain point at a certain time. And that brings me to the next thing that I want to discuss. When we choose to do something contrary to the norm, in particular with parenting, and I have a lot of experience with this, we might get this sense of wanting to show results or really have people see the benefits or the outcome of that decision because we've chosen to do something that's a little bit different to what the average mom or parent is doing. And I just want to caution against doing that with EC, because EC should not be a performance that we're putting on for anybody else, and we really shouldn't be rushing ourselves or our kiddos because of this idea that we need to prove anything to anybody or that we should be at any particular stage in the process at any particular age. Now, I also just want to empathetically say this happens a lot easier than we think. Like, you might be sitting there thinking, like, of course I would never do that. But whenever we go anywhere and people see how little Elba is and the fact that I even have a potty close to me, they do often ask questions about that. And it comes up, people are so excited to see it. So when they see me offering her potty, they might be like eagerly waiting to see how that process goes and to see, like, did she go? And ask a lot of questions about it and show a lot of interest. It might feel a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but like we're disappointing them when she doesn't go because they're like really excited about this. Or we might want to, I guess, like give a positive view of elimination communication. But it's a reminder that I give to myself constantly is just to stay on track with what for me is the fundamentals of elimination communication, which is the respect and communication between me and my kid. And when we're out, she's actually less likely to go in the potty. And I'm going to cover in this video when we're out and about and the choices we make around that. But as much as I enjoy these interactions with people, be it strangers or people that I know, I'm very mindful that those interactions should not put pressure on me. Now you might be rolling your eyes and say, listen, enough with the wishy-washy stuff. Get to the practical going diaper-free part. I am getting there. But the wishy-washy stuff is really important. I think that very easily we can forget the fundamentals of elimination communication when we're practicing it out or wanting to, I guess, like enter in a new phase. And that factors a lot into the decision to go diaper-free. For me, it's very important to remain focused on what the fundamentals are for me. And the fundamentals for me are respecting my little as a whole person, wanting to understand her communication and enhance the communication between us, and wanting to facilitate meeting her needs. And weeing and pooping is some of her needs. So the choice to go diaper free, I think it's very important that we check our ego. It should not be an egotistical decision that we make. We should do it when it feels right for us and feels right for them. And if we do it and find that it's not working, be okay to backtrack and change up our strategy. All right, now what does it mean to go diaper free? Because that can mean a lot of things. It can first of all mean just going bare bottom, nothing, just some pants or other clothing, or I happen to have these here for me. It can also mean moving to tiny undies like these. I bought a couple. I have them in different colors. We very seldomly have used them yet. I will explain that in this video. Or it can mean moving from diapers to trainers, which I purchased a few different brands to try out, and which is what we did. It can also mean going diaper free for portions of the day or the whole day. Does it include or exclude sleeping? Does it include or exclude different activities or things that you're doing? So there's loads of variations to what going diaper free means when you're doing elimination communication. All right, so what are we doing? Currently, from when Elba wakes up, she gets offered potty. I put her into the cotton little trainers. She then wears trainers the whole day at home until she starts looking tired, where I will put her into a diaper for nap time. When she's done napping, she wakes up, I will offer her potty, and then she'll go back into her trainers. If we decide to go out on an outing, I will make a decision about what we're going to do. If we're going somewhere in the car, I'm gonna put her back into diapers. If we're going somewhere in the stroller, I'm gonna decide usually based off of the weather. When we're out and about, it depends where we're going. So I'll make a decision about where we are, what I'm going to be having her in, so be it diapers or trainers. If we're, for example, at a friend's house, a friend of mine who did elimination communication with her kiddo, their Elba is going to be in trainers just because her house is set up for it. She's very familiar with it. She's very comfortable with it. So at her house, Elba will be in trainers. But typically in other outings for now, she will be in a diaper. Then when we get back home, she will go straight back into trainers until literally right before she goes to sleep for the night. Then she'll go into a night nappy. So basically Elba is diaper free in trainers during the day at home, sometimes outside the house, but currently not for sleeping. Let's talk about the decision to use trainers or not to use trainers. You can go straight from diapers to nothing. I mean, realistically, most trainers are not going to hold an entire wee. But why we decided to do trainers is we did and do a lot of naked time. But we actually did too much naked time, in my opinion. Basically, what I noticed happened as a result of being bottomless for really long periods of the day is that Elba stopped signaling or communicating as much to me that she needed to go potty. But as soon as she had a diaper on or some pants on and there was a little bit of a barrier, then the communication would be much more clear for me to understand. So trainers and tiny undies seemed like the answer for us. So why trainers and not really tiny undies? Like, we've used them a couple of times, but like this is our go-to during the day. That's because Elba is still very little, and sometimes her wheeze catch her off guard, especially if she's really absorbed into a little project that she's doing. And so basically she'll like wee a bit and then realize she's weeing and then let me know she's weeing or point to the potty. I've covered this in other videos where she literally like wheezes a bit, communicates to me, is holding it, and then I put her on potty. Trainers catch that initial wee, where tiny undies are not going to hold back that. That's going to go through onto her pants or onto whatever she's sitting on. The other reason is trainers. I have a few different types, like I said. While they're not going to hold a full-sized wee, there's probably going to be some leakage. They can hold, depending on which one of them, and I'll cover that in another video. Like, some of them are more or less absorbent. They are going to hold some of it, which means the mess that you clean up is less. It's not non-existent, it's just less. But the main thing with trainers was I wanted a little barrier that is much easier than diapers to put on, take off. I want her to be able to learn to put them on and to take them off. And I wanted something that can at least catch a little bit if we have a miss. Now let's talk about the decision to go from diapers to trainers. I was actually already considering doing this at around 9 or 10 months. At that time, Elba was really consistently going in the potty. But then we had a cold snap where it literally went to like below minus 40 degrees Celsius, and there was something funky with our furnace. So for 2 days, I barely offered potty because it was pretty cold. Right after that, she also had several teeth come in, and I think those two things combined kind of moved us away from the consistency with going in potty, and we went back to definitely needing to use diapers. I was completely relaxed about that. I was fine with it. Just went along with it and assumed the next time she's ready or I feel ready, I'll know. No rush with it. Then around 11 months is when I started to realize that we were having counterproductive naked time where she wasn't communicating with me as much because there was no barrier. Yes. Now, I don't want Elba to be in diapers all day. Yeah. I think it's a lot that's there. And I want to be able to very easily remove whatever she's wearing to put her on and take her off the potty. So it wasn't feeling for me anymore that diapers a lot of the time throughout the day was a solution. It was also the older she got, the busier she became. And when she's busy, I don't enjoy like disrupting her or several times a day, like going through like quite a mission to offer potty because she's not necessarily going every time I offer potty. So I also wanted to make that easier for me and for her, that she doesn't feel like me offering potty is disrupting her activities. Anyway, I decided to order the trainers from the Tiny Undies company. Tiny Undies company is the same person who wrote the Go Diaper Free book. They're based in the US, so I knew that it would take some time to get here. At the same time, I placed an order for other types of trainers that were here in Canada. And these, to have variation, to see what we like, what works for us. Different ones work at different times of the day for different activities. But essentially, I just waited for them to arrive. And when they arrived, we started using them. We essentially started using them less than a week after she turned 1, because that's when they arrived. Now, what made me decide that it was a good time to go diaper free, aside from the things that I've mentioned already? The first thing is poop has consistently been in the potty for a really long time. Actually, I'm pretty useless at washing poop out of cloth diapers because of how seldomly I've done it since Elba started solid foods. There have been rare occasions where it's gone in the diaper, and I'm speaking like maybe once every 2 to 3 months or so. And it's usually when we are busy driving home or when we're kind of doing an activity and there's like a couple of steps to do to get her on the potty. So I just don't get her on the potty fast enough. Those are like the 2 occasions that I can think of where it's happened in the last like many months. So that means that the main decision about when to go diaper free is about we. which was fairly consistent, but we were still having some misses during the day. So I spoke about this already. I was finding that our nudie time was being counterproductive, and I thought that the trainers would help with that. I'm happy to report the trainers have helped with that. And it's definitely become a lot more consistent that the wees are in potty now that we've moved to trainers. So while there might be this idea that you go diaper free when 100% of the output is in the potty, however, this is not the case for I think most EC parents, at least all the ones I know. Now, if you cannot tolerate messes, then maybe that strategy is a good one for you. Our house is very much set up for elimination communication. Everything in our house can be cleaned. All of our mattresses have mattress protectors on. We have reusable absorbent pads in most of the rooms we're in. This couch that I'm sitting on and our other couch are play couches, so they have waterproof linings in them, very easy to clean. The rug in our playroom gets a deep, thorough clean with like one of those special machines. We bought one whenever necessary, and everything else can just be wiped off and cleaned. So I'm really fine with messes that happen anywhere in our house. Where I'm not fine with a mess is in the car. I don't want to figure out how to clean that car seat if there were to be a mess on the car seat. Like, I might still have to figure that out in our journey, but for right now, just that's like my tolerance. The other one that's like kind of, I guess, is our stroller. And this one for me is more weather dependent than really much to do with our stroller. Currently, it is still very cold and snowing most of the time outside. I don't want her to be wet and cold when we're out somewhere going for a walk. Also, our stroller has a warm bag thing on it, which I think wouldn't be like the easiest to clean if it were to get wet. But that would also mean if it got wet that she would be cold. So that's determining my tolerance in terms of my willingness for messes, which is a big factor in deciding where and when your kid is going diaper free, given that they're still very little and there could be messes that happen. People can also approach this differently. A friend of mine who did EC, they started a little bit later than us. What they did was they had these trainers and then they used like a plastic cover over them, or you could use a wool cover over them. I think my plan with outings for now is to use the types of trainers that are a little bit more absorbent, but my decision to use trainers or to go diaper free when out and about has a little bit less to do with where Elba's at with elimination communication and more to do with the weather. As soon as I think proper like warm spring and summer are here, especially if we're just outside, I'm going to be much more comfortable for her to be in trainers compared to in winter, where I'm a little bit worried that if she were to get wet, then she's going to get cold and be very uncomfortable. Also in winter, there's quite a lot of layers to take off in terms of offering potty, and I'm not offering potty outside because she's going to get cold. Whereas in warmer months, I will just offer potty outside, which means there's more potty opportunities. So I foresee that as soon as the weather gets warmer, we'll be moving to trainers for some outings. One of the big things that it features in the Go Diaper Free book, and loads of people talk about it, is that a typical time when people start to go diaper free is when their kiddos start to walk. I actually found there was a different developmental stage, whatever you want to call them, that had an impact on our EC journey. And that is Elba becoming more verbal in her communication. So one of the examples of this is when I ordered the trainers from the Tiny Undies company, I also ordered the Tiny Potty book. We showed this to Elba once, literally, when it arrived. And in it, it has like the little kitty taking their stuffed bear to the potty. And I was thinking like, nah, that's not gonna be Elba's vibe. Like, I've never seen her really show an interest in stuffed toys up until that point. But nonetheless, we got out a basket of stuffed toys and then we just put it down, and literally immediately she took them out, she put them on the potty, and then she would say to them like, psst, and she would check if they made a wee in the potty. It was like the cutest thing that carried on for like, it still happens where many things are put into the potty but mostly stuffed toys. And then she'll check like if they weed and she'll say like, psst to them. Anyway, she also does a lot of pointing and pss and pee and whatever to indicate potty. So that's the verbal communication that I think's made a really big difference to our EC journey and me understanding more clearly when she wants to go to the potty. But it's very important to me to paint a realistic picture of our EC journey. And my experience is that littles and toddlers, it's not always that easy to understand them. So one of the examples, and I'm really having this experience while filming this video, sometimes when I will ask Elba, like, do you need to go potty? Then she will point at the potty and go like, psst. But she's not actually wanting to go. She is responding to me asking about the potty and making the association, like telling me where it is and telling me what goes in it. I had a beautiful example of this happen yesterday where she picked up the potty and was like showing it to me and making like a pee sound. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, do you want to go potty? And like before I could even get to her, she'd put it down and she looked away and she picked up and then she pointed at the potty, like a picture of the potty in the Tiny Undies pamphlet that had come with our trainer order. So in that case, she was also not saying that she wants to go potty, but she was making the association between the potty and the picture of the potty and showing me that. So I definitely still misunderstand her in thinking that she wants to go and then she doesn't want to go. And I also think that there are times where she thinks she might want to go, indicate for potty, and then she sits and then seems like, okay, no, that's not happening, and then gets off. The other thing that's also happened is that when she's in her high chair, I try to have the potty be visible most of the time wherever we are so that she can point to it or that she can fetch it and let me know when she wants to go. So when she's in her high chair, what I've noticed she will do is she'll point to the potty and say, psst, and we will then get up, clean her up, take her out of the chair and put her on the potty. What I've seen happen is that she now also uses that as the communication for I'm done eating, I want to get out the chair now. Now some might think that that's like a negative association, but for me, that's fine. She's communicating she wants to get out, and I've never made her sit in the high chair longer than she wants to sit. So if that's her way of saying, I want to get out of the chair right now, then that's what we do. The other reason we also like honor it, so to speak, is because we want her to know that we're listening and that we are responding to her communication. But you do get to know your kid, so you will start to have a better sense for your kid when their indication of the potty might mean something else, like wanting to play with it, or like an association like I explained, or like wanting to get out of the high chair, or they actually need to go. What we've experienced when she's in the high chair, because she often likes to go like right after eating, is that how we can tell it's usually more of a urgent get her out the chair onto the potty is that she will often still be eating and then point to the potty, or she'll abruptly stop eating and point to the potty and say psst, as opposed to kind of like sitting around playing and then pointing to the potty. But even if you know your kiddo and even if you understand their communication, it's not always easy to get them on the potty fast enough. And the high chair is an example of where it's a good idea for us to be using the trainers, because especially if we're going to wipe off her hands or wipe off her face or try to wait for her not to have food in her mouth before we take her out of it, just for safety reasons, sometimes she's not able to hold it long enough until we get her on the potty. And in that case, we want to have a trainer that's going to at least catch some of it until we can get her onto the potty. The communication is also like different from day to day and also different scenarios. Sometimes she is incredibly assertive and it is so clear that she wants to go potty, particularly in the mornings. Like I'll be half asleep and she is assertive to let me know that she would like to go potty now by saying words and pointing at the potty. And then other times it will basically sound like she's like whispering under her breath and I'll be like, what was that, like a kind of sound? Nonetheless, we're staying consistent that when we see the signs or the communication that typically means that she wants to go potty, we're offering potty. And that brings me to my next one is we didn't do baby sign language. I'm gonna answer the question, do we regret that we didn't do baby sign language? No, I do not currently regret that decision. That might be because Elba is quite verbal in her communication and points often, and she's had other methods of communication pretty early on that I could understand. If I had a kiddo who was less communicative in terms of their verbal communication, then I might have wished, or I might have changed up my strategy to try to put a little bit more emphasis on using some of the signs. So that's something else I want to discuss here, is that it's important that we do EC with the kid that we have. So like I've said now, Elba is quite, I guess, in my opinion, verbally strong, where another kiddo might be very physically strong. So one of the things that we've not done up until this point is that I've not facilitated for Elba to get onto the potty by herself. So we've not done the back squat thing just yet with her. Thankfully though, she does get off the potty by herself without bumping the content over, which is awesome for me, because one of the things that I found that is necessary for me to do is to put her on the potty when I go to the bathroom, because usually hearing and seeing me go triggers her to want to go. So I will often put her on the potty and then get on the toilet myself, and she will many times go in the potty and then get off of the potty without bumping it over. But I'm always right there, because while she does not bump it over when she gets off of it, she does sometimes see, oh, liquid, and treat it like it's water and want to play in it. She will also sometimes, because she's seen me do it, want to go throw out the content of the potty. Like where I will throw out the content of the potty into something appropriate, she will want to throw the content of the potty onto the floor. So that's why, although she can get off, I'm very close by. Now to discuss why we are not diaper free for naps. So for nap time, Elba has a dry diaper literally 99% of the time. But it's for that 1% that we are not. Like I said, it's still cold here, and Elba naps once a day only by her choice. And it's very important to me that I don't disrupt the quality of that sleep. If we were to have a miss, I do not want her clothes or whatever she's lying on to be soaked and then she's gonna get cold. So I think, we'll see, but when the weather warms up, maybe I will switch to using trainers and that she naps on a reusable absorbent pad. But for now, I'm just not willing to disrupt her nap time for that 1% or less likelihood that there might be a miss and her clothes are gonna get wet and she's gonna get cold. And then why we are not diaper free at night. Elba nurses throughout the night. We breast sleep, and she nurses a lot throughout the night, which means she needs to go a lot. And she sleeps through that. Therefore, I don't want to disrupt her to offer potty. And even if I were to disrupt her to offer potty, I would have to offer it many times in order for her to be dry through the night. If she wakes up at any point during the nighttime sleep, then I will offer her potty and change her diaper. But other than that, I'm not disrupting her sleep to offer potty or to change her diaper. If at any point I'm seeing signs that her wet diaper is disrupting her sleep or that she would want to go potty during the night, I will change up my strategy. Until now, I've not seen any indication to change that strategy. And I have no idea when we will be diaper free at night. I also have no pressure to do that because I have no intention to night wean her anytime soon. This might be very different for a kiddo who's not having milk throughout the night because they're going to have less input, less output. So need to go less, and maybe it's less disruptive for their sleep, or they sleep better when they've been offered potty. That's not been the case for us, therefore that's not my strategy. All right, last point on discussing the practicalness of going diaper free is the decision to make a potty station or not make a potty station and or move the potty to be done in the bathroom. We've not done a potty station. I did discuss the possibility or the idea of doing it in earlier videos. I did contemplate doing it. We're not doing it. We're pottying wherever, whenever. Literally wherever we are. And we do have 3 potties. Like I said, I tried to keep them visible so that she can point at it and she can fetch it. We have one upstairs, we have one downstairs, and we have one in the car. Side note, I by accidentally brought the car potty into the house, and that oh my life. And that created some confusion for me because it became like a game to decide like which potty she wanted to sit on and wanting to put the potties on top of each other. And even when I try to hide the one potty, like she would go and she would find it But back to the point, we don't have a potty station. The main reason for this, for me, is that many of my parenting decisions may not be deemed in a typical go, go, go society to be, how would I say this, convenient. And EC is just one of the parenting decisions that I do that is very hands-on. So in considering that many things that I do require me to be very attentive, very hands-on with my kiddo, I will sometimes determine whether something really does make a material difference and whether the, in my opinion, inconvenience of it makes a big difference to what is important to us. And thus far, I've not felt that us going to a particular place to potty make a material difference to our EC journey at this point, given how old Elba is and given where she's at developmentally. I really hate saying where she's at developmentally, so if you have a suggestion for a better way to phrase that, please let me know. But back to my point. At the moment, Elba's main mode of getting anywhere is through crawl. I think that once she is walking everywhere, maybe then it's going to become nicer and better for our journey to potty in the bathroom. But right now, a lot of the potting is me wanting to get the potty as quickly as possible, and that means we potty wherever. I don't really think that at this age for her, it makes a big difference that there's a certain room that we associate with potty time when she's a little bit older. I think that will be a natural part of the journey as she starts to walk around from room to room. I don't think that right now I need to teach her that the bathroom is where we go potty. Now, all of that being said, I might eat my words later because I am still learning and I'm still going on what I kind of think right now, and in hindsight, I can look back and think that, no, that was not the best decision for us to make, and I will keep you updated on how that goes. But for now, I've not felt that I wanted to do a potty station. The friends of mine who do EC pottied wherever, and still sometimes do, and their older kiddos understand the concept of a bathroom without thinking that everywhere is a place to go. That made me think of something else that I'd like to share, is when we're out and about, I actually don't really take Elba to potty in public bathrooms, which might be very contrary to what you see online with people doing EC. They're often taking their kiddos to a public bathroom. I do apologize for the noise. The reason I don't do this is because I find the bathrooms not clean enough to my liking. So most of the time I will just find that there is a secluded spot to allow for some privacy and less stimulation, and that's where I'm going to offer potty. Of course, if there's nowhere that's appropriate, I will go to a public bathroom, or more often I will pick going to our car rather than going to the public bathroom if I've got enough time to go like all the way. Elba doesn't typically make poops when out and about. I would be really interested to hear, but I think that this is a thing where littles do tend to prefer to go at home. So I haven't had a scenario in months where she's needed to poop when we're out in public and I've needed to deal with that. So I don't have a lot of experience to share with that. Most of the we're doing out and I am still learning, and what I like to keep at the forefront of my decision making is the fundamentals of EC, which for me is respect, facilitating Elba's needs, and doing my best to understand her communication and improving the communication between the two of us. So with any of the decisions I make, I'm very open to taking feedback from the situation around what's happening. It's very important for me to check myself in that decision making and to kind of evaluate how the decisions I'm making is impacting on her communication or her journey or my journey, etc. And with that, I'm going to end up today's video just by sharing a little, I think, beautiful EC story. A week or so ago, we went to a friend's house who did EC with their little, who is a year older than Elba. At that point, I hadn't yet put Elba into diapers when we were outside of the house. I had some in my diaper bag when we were there. And when we were there, she's like, Elba really doesn't have to wear a diaper here. Like, it's fine. I don't mind if there's misses. So I had a trainer in my diaper bag and I just put that on because I was still a little bit nervous about somebody else's house, even though they were saying that it was fine. I was also like I found myself being very nervous because I was scared that I might be distracted because we're out and about. I'm having social interactions. There's another kid there. So there's a lot going on and I was a little bit worried that I might miss Elba's communication, or that because there was a lot going on, she might not communicate with me. So I definitely found myself being very I guess cautious, but also wanting to go for it and to do that and to see what happens. So we were sitting on the floor and Elba then put me to her potty. Like I said, I tried to keep it in the room, even when we're out and about, so that she can't indicate to it. I think she pointed to it and then she made some pee sounds with her mouth. And the friend was like, I think she's saying she wants to go potty. Like, can I put her on the potty? I was like, sure, you can put her on the potty. She put her on the potty and immediately Elba weed. And it was a really, really cool moment because it's not often that people get to experience such a little having such clear communication. And for this mom, who's not Elba's mom, to have facilitated that for her, I think was really like a big moment, even though she done easy with her own. And they started a little bit later, so it's slightly different, but it's still like with someone else's kid, you feel good that you understood their communication and that you facilitated that. At the same time, there was somebody else there who also witnessed it, and they had never seen such a little person communicate and then go on the potty, and for the entire duration of the play date, Elba was completely dry. So that was like a really cool moment for us all to experience. So naturally, we didn't hide our glee, but that doesn't bother me because I feel like it's good to be authentic in our expressions. That doesn't mean I'm praising potty time or anything. I'm just authentically expressing glee and joy at the situation. But what I also found that was beautiful about a situation like that is it really gives me a sense of community in something that I'm doing that is not as common. And as a EC parent, it is really nice for me to have friends and family be involved in our EC journey and to facilitate meeting Elba's needs and trying to understand her communication. All right, I'm literally covered everywhere in all of Elba's toys, but that's where I'm going to end off today's video. I'm going to make my next EC video where I just share all the different trainers that we bought, because only one of them, the tiny undies trainers, are actually made for EC babies. The other ones are just normal, like for potty training toddlers, but they come in small and extra small sizes. So I purchased them and got 4 brands, and I want to just share, like, we've experimented with them, we've used them, what I think is nice about them, and some information if you are looking to move your little to trainers, especially given that it's not that easy to get the trainers from the Tiny Undies company if you're not based in the US. Hey, if you liked today's video, please go ahead and like it, and if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for being here with us today. Bye-bye!